Wednesday, August the 18th. Lake levels come down about almost 2 foot since our last fishing report, and it had been coming down quite a bit. I think the last 24 hours it's only come down a couple inches, but it's about 9:21. We had a couple inches of rain last night, Springfield area did, so I don't know if it's going to come up or if they're going to be able to stay with it, but they've been trying to get the lake back down to normal pool by Labor Day. Depends on how much rain we get between now and then. But we've also had a cold front, and the water temperature, actually the cold front's just now coming in right now, but the last 3-4 days have been a lot cooler than normal. That water temperature's dropped down into the mid-80s. Now, not a whole lot has changed. Still a pretty tough bite for the most part. You know, I've talked in the last couple weeks a lot about the jig fish. You know, there's really not much of a thermocline in the lake. It depends where you're at, but it's 15 to 20 foot deep. So I haven't been catching very many fish much deeper than that. If you can find, you know, brush piles in that 12 to 20 foot range, there's been some fish in the brush on main lake points, and I've been looking for the little bit bigger rock, more like football size rock instead of these long pea gravel points. A lot of that stuff that had been holding quite a few fish, a lot of the pea gravel, seems like I'm catching a lot more smaller fish off that. My better fish are coming off bigger rock, or where channels come up to a main lake point and kind of flat on one side and steeper on the other side. A couple of the jigs I've been using, you can use I've been using a 1/2 ounce pig sticker jig, and the color is a magic craw, which is kind of like a dark green pumpkin with some blue and red flake, almost like a candy, like a watermelon candy flake in it. But I've still been using a lot of trailers with a little bit of red or orange. This particular jig has got a Zoom Ultra Vibe Speed Craw for a trailer. Another one I've been throwing is a Strike King. It's a structure jig, especially when you're around the brush. You'll see the difference in the head between a football head. A football head tends to get hung up a lot in the branches. The hook itself doesn't, but the way the head design is, if you're coming through a lot of brush with it, you will get hung up quite a bit. Now the structure jig, it's got more of a teardrop to it, the line tie right here, so when it comes between the branches, it has a better chance of working through. And I've been throwing, you know, a lot of the same color, green pumpkin, brown, and on this one I've got a rage craw, a baby rage craw for a trailer. But you can use like just choppers on a stand-up head. Heavier line I'm throwing and how windy it is. Normally I'm throwing 14 to 16 pound line with a bait caster, and I'm throwing that 1/2 ounce. Now if I've got people throwing a small spinning gear with 8 pound line, I'll usually go down to like a 5/16 or 3/8 ounce jig, so you can matches up better with the lighter line and the lighter rod. Now there's the best color in the lake actually seems to be in the Kimberling City area. There's kind of been an algae bloom, so there's kind of a brown, funky color in a lot of the water. Some's got good green. The upper river arms, like up in the James, seem to have the best color. But I've been starting to catch some shallow fish around the bushes, and I've been swimming a 3/8 ounce and a 1/2 ounce pig sticker. It's a Snowden jig. But there again, you could use like a flipping jig. You want to use something with a teardrop style where it comes through the brush. Also in those same areas, been catching them on a crankbait. Some things that should work better is a crankbait that'll run about 8 to 12 feet deep. You can throw, I've been throwing a Strike King 5XD. Now another bait that'll work good is like a 10X, a Rapala, DT10, deep little end Normans will work. And what I'm trying to do is throw shad colors. I'll use like a chartreuse sexy shad or something back. If the water's a little clearer, I'll try to use something a little bit more. Now another thing that's been working some, with this water coming down, it's going to pull a lot of them fish back out of them green trees in the bushes. And I've been catching some on a frog, and that's we normally do in the fall each year. We'll start to get on a shallow bite when the water starts to cool down, and hopefully we've got a little bit of a cooling trend coming in right now. I'll throw a lot of different styles of frogs. This is a pad crusher, a popping pad crusher. So you can either walk it like you do a spook, or on the front of it you can pop it like you do a pop-R. And what's good about this is, you can flip it way back up underneath the brush on the willows. It'll come through. When the sun gets up, what you want to do is key on the shaded areas. The thicker the willow trees, the better, and the further back you can get it in. I usually throw this on real heavy line, 20 pound, or I'll use braid. Now another couple other frogs, you can use some soft plastic frogs. This is this one here is a Stanley ribbit frog. Now you can use different style hooks, like on this horny toad. I've just got a worm hook. It's a EWG, extra wide gap hook. I'm Texas rigging it. Or ribbit's got a pretty neat hook, and it's got a screw lock on the front of it, and then it's got two big old hooks, and you can kind of just skin hook the back of the frog. So you can either get an actual frog hook to work these horny toads or the ribbit, or you can work it on a We've got as good a color, in the mid-lake area as we do the river arms. And it hasn't been working a lot for me, but the bites I've been getting either on the frog or on the jig around this shallow cover have primarily been largemouths, and they've been, a lot bigger fish. Now, don't be afraid to throw these when the sun gets up, because actually what it's going to do when that sun gets up real high, and like right now today where it's cloudy, the fish could be over some submerged brush or buck brush. But once that sun gets up, normally them fish are going to get in the shade. So it kind of limits the area that you want to try to key on, whether you're throwing the jig or the frog. And also up in the James this past week, we're still catching some on some deep diving crankbaits and the football jig. Depth is still about the same. Seems like that 12 to 20 foot. And up there I'm fishing like bluff ends, main lake flats where they drop off into a channel. And it's kind of a hunting and pecking deal. I mean, you got to fish sometimes 3 or 4 spots, then you'll pull up on a spot and catch 3 or 4 fish. They are getting, somewhat grouped up, but they're not everywhere. You just got to spend, a lot of time out there. Another thing you could throw out there in the same area where you're throwing the crankbait and the jig is a big worm. I don't think there's an area of the lake that's producing a whole lot better. I've just found, like from Long Creek to the dam up in that area, to me seems to be about the toughest. The Kimberling City area, Ants Creek, Baxter to Campbell Point seems to be producing a little bit better for me. And like I say, you've got a little bit of mixture. You can do a little bit of everything, especially with the color in the water. You can get up shallower. And normally as that water cools down like it's starting to do right now, keep an eye on your shad. If you start seeing a lot of bait fish shallow, you might even want to start picking up a spinnerbait or a top water. Normally we'll get into a fall transition or migration when the bait fish starts moving and the fish won't be very far behind. So hopefully we'll start to get into that. So till next week, good luck, good fishing. Also, I forgot to tell you all about Sportsman Factory Outlet there in Springfield. They're moving to their new store next week, but they're going to close on Friday. And if all goes well, they should open up at their new store on Wednesday next week. And the address is 3031 North Martin in Springfield. It's right off of I-44. If you'll take exit 84 off of Interstate 44, you can see it from the highway. And if you get off at 84, it'll take you right to it. But I'm also going to have the address posted on my website in case you didn't get it there. But they're moving into their brand new facility, and the next couple of weeks is going to be pretty awesome there because they're going to have a bunch of like grand opening sales, specials on different things. So hope to see you out there in the next week or two.